And we're going, dude. What's going on,
Talk to me, bro.
dude? How's it been?
Dude,
How's it,
it's been a rough, fun,
it's been a rough fun.
wild ride.
Oh yeah, you guys had your first show.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, good.
You want me to rip into that, or you
I
want
mean,
to
you can if you want. Yeah.
Well, first let's introduce ourselves.
Oh yeah,
I'm Dr. Jellybeans.
it's Big Bear.
Big-
I'm Big Bear, and
in
I'm
the big
here with.
brown house.
It's Big Bear, and I'm here with White James Brown.
Ow!
And
Talk to me.
this is Chuff Chat as usual.
As usual,
I guess-
pod.
You know, a lot's been happening in all of our lives. Collie B just played a show. We just had me and my family just went on a spring break cruise
And Crispy's going on a trip to PR
to
Puerto
the Reeks.
to the Reeks,
Hell yeah.
to the Reek Islands.
Hell yeah. I mean, I know we were technically going to go into your show, but dude, I'm like I was my mind, I'm going to sound like an ignorant ass tourist for sure, but like my mind was completely blown away by the Dominican Republic. Like
So that's where you went, DR.
yeah, so
Okay.
the itinerary was that we left on a Sunday, and we had a full day at sea on Monday. Sunday to Monday, we were completely at sea, and then Tuesday morning we got to the Bahamas, and it was pretty cold. So I didn't do a lot of swimming, but we like chilled
There
at
was
the
a couple like cold fronts that came.
yeah,
in,
oh
so
yeah, and it was like windy as
it
hell.
was just chilly beach vibes.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
whole time, so our plan for the Bahamas was just that we got an umbrella and a spot, like in a spot by the beach, and that was like cool. It's
Just
like
enjoy your time
yeah,
there.
it's
just no
you
bothering.
take this little boat out because you don't in that specific port they don't have a port for the big ship, so you get on a small tender, and that drives you into port, and that was pretty sick. Like, you know,
Just
Maddie,
you and the girls, or just
yeah, me and Maddie and Julie.
Oh, sweet.
And like, it was just us, with like no other family or anything came, and
It's like perfect for you.
dude, yeah, it was
And
it was
everybody,
nice.
really.
Yeah, it was nice, and like Maddie really got a kick out of it, and I'm really glad she got to see all that. But that was all like just really beautiful, and it was a tourist spot.
Yeah.
And then the Turks and Caicos, we were supposed to go whale watching, but the weather was bad again, so we ended up walking down this long beach, and it was warmer, so I went swimming this time. And I don't know if I've like in my adult life been swimming in the Atlantic like that.
Yeah.
How
So is it,
fucking
like,
blue
spiritual?
it is. It's crazy. Yeah,
Oh,
it was.
yeah.
It was like because you know we're on the Gulf side.
Yeah.
So like we just
We don't go to the Atlantic that often.
no,
Yeah.
no, and like
We go to the green, thick,
green,
murky oil
thick
water.
Yeah.
The red tide blue
Yeah,
water. It's
exactly.
delicious.
Exactly. And so like when we the first cruise I'd ever been in was our honeymoon, and it was in October, so it was too cold to go swimming then.
Yeah.
So this was the first time I'd ever been like swimming in blue
I
water.
heard the waves are bigger in the
Yeah,
Atlantic.
oh yeah, it was going for sure, and it was
Just
fucking
knocking ass
nice.
around.
Like Julie got, there's this place called Jack Shack, and she got jerk chicken and some dirty rice and conch fritters and shit, and we ate it on the beach, and we drank beer and all that, and I was like,
Stay late or
yeah. Do you know me, dude? I'm like so
Vibes.
vibes
You're
oriented.
looking for the vibes.
and
Looking
that
for
was
the-
like totally the vibe. Like eating chicken, like
It's
eating
like if you
spicy
were-
chicken off the bone.
If you had a show on Travel Channel instead of Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations, where he's looking for food all around the world culturally,
Yeah.
it's just you're looking for the right vibes.
Yeah.
Everywhere. You're like in Vietnam with like a bunch of old dudes smoking cigarettes outside of the fruit shop or something.
It would just be called Chavez Vibes Chantale.
vibes. In search.
Vibes. The
vibes.
vibes here have been completely Chantale.
Chantale.
This is gonna like
Yeah.
this will piggyback. This will like springboard into a bunch of conversations that I've been wanting to have. So I'll get through this quick so that I
Wait,
don't.
before we get into that, let's introduce the drink that we have here today.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
this actually works for our because
segue.
yeah, this works
Little
and
drink
this will get
ASMR.
us into the Dominican Republic. So this week, hold on. Beautiful.
I don't know if you're gonna pan these left and right.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll like when I do that, I'll put like an echo or some like thing. Yeah, it'll be beautiful. But so this week we're doing a rum old fashioned. I got this fancy rum it's a Venezuelan rum that I got in the Dominican Republic, and I can't remember the name and I can't see the bottle name right now. But
Saint Teresa.
something like that, and
1796.
and it's really good, kind of whiskey adjacent. So we made an old fashioned, and the specs are 2 ounces of Saint Teresa rum, Venezuelan rum, a half ounce of allspice dram, a half ounce of orgeat, and then a splash of walnut bitters and a splash of grapefruit bitters. And this is really good.
That orgeat is nice.
Yeah, the orgeat really brings it all together. This is
It gives it that like that vintage rustic, like I'm in World War One drinking a nice drink, you know.
It's like, so the origin of the name Old Fashioned, if I remember correctly, an old fashioned is like what they like. That's what you drank in like the Old West. If you went to a saloon,
Typical style. Give me
so this is exactly
rum,
like
squirt 'em.
the cocktail specs used to be a bitter, a liquor, and it's like this some specific thing where it's like 2 parts
like
bitter or 2 parts liquor, 1 part sweet, 1 part or half part something like dry or bitter or something like that. Like there's some ratio, and then that became so ubiquitous that it just ended up becoming called
it had a
the
unanimous.
it became the old fashioned once you got to like the Roaring '20s and like new. Yeah, that's
give me
literally
what they used to give the old boys back in the day.
So
there's a nice spin on it. It's a very orange, creamy, almondy spin. I like it.
And do we need to go to some tiki places together? Because like
No,
tiki is
I've
one of
been to a
those
couple
weird.
tiki bars. They're fun,
tiki's
honestly.
one of those weird subgenres for me that like I got really into tiki, and it's like it's embarrassing because it's like it's
know you wanna be
definitely
the-
on brand for.
You want to be the tiki? What's his name? Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah,
boy.
dude. I mean, that was the
Margarita.
thing is I used to my ironic love for Jimmy Buffett became a true love for Jimmy Buffett.
That was
And
inevitable.
then
I saw that coming.
Yeah, and then it became a real life.
I had a vision of you like with a straw hat and an iguana on your shoulder, like just beach bumming it, like you're brown, you know.
Dude, that's
like,
that's the like when Mao said that he had the monkey and the tiger in him. One was like the anarchist and one was
Right.
the fascist.
Yeah.
That's what I wrestle with all the time. Is that I
That's your
have
Jimmy
like
Buffett
is
personality
that
is
I
the
have
monkey.
the like I have the tiki like vibes dad. I have like tiki drink dad.
chill vibes.
And like just
vibe
one of
connoisseur.
I just want to be able to vibe and like money's no thing. I just want to
Right.
be able to chill. And then the other side of that is like constantly stressing about like
be on your P's and Q's.
the world and culture and like the
Everything
Marxist
collapsing
side of me.
constantly around
Yeah, the
us,
Jimmy Buffett in me conflicts with the Marx in me. Like they're at war with each other.
You're constantly learning and trying to get the best
constantly
angle.
battling each other.
Get the strategy.
So that actually sets me up for the Dominican Republic.
Let's get back.
Because so the plan, and I'll shout it out. It was called El Gallo, and it's this eco lodge.
Okay.
And Julie found the itinerary and stuff like that, and so it costs some money to you get a ticket for it. Like any cruise, I know you haven't been on cruises, and I've only been on. This is my second ever, so.
Yeah.
I'll let people know how it works because I assume people are ignorant to it because I was.
Yeah.
So you beforehand or while you're on the ship you book what's called excursions, and so they're ticketed things that you do that are either
like events that are pre-planned.
They're pre-planned, and most of the time if you're smart you do the ones that are affiliated with the cruise. That way they know when the ship's leaving and all that.
So you don't
kind
go
of
too
shit.
far away.
So this one was affiliated with the cruise. So this is going to go into a few stories.
Oh,
so
shoot.
I'm
Let it rip.
I'm laying the groundwork.
I'm ready.
So no matter what, they know what time we're supposed to be back, and they have us in mind for all
Let's
that.
go. We gotta go.
No big deal. So we get there early. We're docked at 7, and we're off the boat in line for this thing by 8 o'clock, like 7:45, 8:15. And it's beautiful. The port is called Amber Cove. When you walk up, there's a bunch of little Dominican guys on a hill, like in a fort, like beating some drums while some like fucking
like
like
a welcoming
cumbia
party?
is playing and shit.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like definitely made for tourists, and it's definitely like
A spectacle.
yeah, it's a spectacle for sure.
That's
And
great.
that's where people shop, and that's where all the things get launched from. So we meet this dude who's this little guy named David Gonzalez. And he's like, oh, you're coming with me, blah, blah, blah. He's a real nice dude, local guy. He's like, I get to know along the ride that he's been a tour guide for 29 years. So next year will be his 30th year doing it and all that kind of shit. And so we're the first in line for this. And Julie waits by this guy where they're going to take us. And I take Maddie around a little bit in the Amber Cove and like show her some stuff, take some pictures. We come back, her and Julie go off. There's another family waiting there, or a guy waiting there for this family. And they go off, and then this guy he's like, oh, so you on the Eco Lodge too? Like, do you know anything? And just kind of like weirdly probes me for knowledge just about like, because I was like, yeah, I really want to see birds. I'm kind of a nerd about nature stuff and everything.
right.
And he tells me like, oh yeah, I'm really into like, I bought a bunch of land up in Daytona. So like he's talking to me about like how he wants to, he's immediately talking about, I don't even really know how it transitioned into it. He just immediately wanted to start talking about the
just willfully giving you all this
yeah,
information.
oh
about
yeah,
his life.
and
Just
so like very
ridiculous.
quickly I realized that he is some guy that's has a lot of money, bought a ton of land in Florida. He was saying he had like 100 acres in Daytona area.
Yeah, okay.
That he has
Jesus
a bunch
Christ.
of scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like that he was
land,
from
bro.
up north, and they were from New Jersey, and he bought a bunch of land, and they're trying all the sustainable farming shit. He wants to grow all this stuff on there. He's just kind of got this bug. Like he
Right.
seems to be a hobbyist, a land hobbyist. And for whatever reason, so he wants to go to this eco lodge.
Not
to
even like a realtor or anything. Just like, I want to make money off this land.
I don't think it's even that. He just has made a lot of money, and it seems like he
has his plan. He has a plan.
He just wants to do this shit with this land, and he wants to like. I
God
wasn't
bless you, I
even
guess.
exactly sure what his whole idea was.
That's
but
what America is, man.
Exactly. He starts talking to me on this, like, he starts
Freedom.
talking to me throughout this whole trip about like, it's a 45-minute ride up the mountain. Off this beach, like away from the thing, and the whole ride up, he's kind of in and out of talking to me about stuff because I'm trying to sightsee with Maddie and Julie. Like I'm trying to enjoy
So
the
he's
like.
in your periphery, and he's just kind of talking.
Yeah,
at you.
he's like we're in a like a Jeep, like literally like a
Oh,
we're in like a
okay.
bus Jeep.
like a safari.
And
Kinda,
safari Jeep that you would get in like Busch Gardens, and we're going up the side, and it's like a crazy ass
like,
ride, and
"Yeah."
our driver's like cutting through shit and riding up stuff, and he's just trying to like gauge me first. Like he eventually asked me if I like lean right or left, and I told him flat out I was a Marxist, and that kind of changed his vibe towards me. But then eventually he like, because that was at the beginning of the trip. Eventually he kept talking to me.
He had no idea.
Yeah,
was
he just
like,
kind of wanted to gauge it. Like he was like, all right, well,
I got
after
no one else to talk to who
yeah,
wants to
he had
listen to
no.
me.
So it turns out he retired when he was 40. He's 50 and he looks great. He plays in a street hockey team, and
Okay.
he's like some
okay, so
dude.
he's active.
Yeah, and
Like,
he told like he apparently like made money in like some sort of stock options or had indexes or whatever when he was young.
Yeah.
And so like he was kind of ambiguous about how he made it, but the point is he's retired now, and like he was with his daughter, him and Maddie, like they were very nice. Like
Right.
his wife was very nice, and his daughter was a little bit younger than Maddie, and she like clung to Maddie, and
really?
like they
Like,
wanted
"We're
to know
best
about her
friends
school.
now."
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and because it was all in all, our party was me, Julie, and Maddie. These three people, like this Trump, well, not even a Trump guy. What ended up being an Elon guy.
Oh,
Yeah, and
that's
so
almost
he's an
worse,
Elon
you know?
guy, and his wife and kid, and then another couple who's like a younger couple. And so we go up on this hill, and I'll show you pictures later, but it was fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
And like, and
Just overlooking the
this
water.
guy aside, it's like the whole trip to me is that like it was beautiful, and it's made me like to have that tourist guilt where I was like, this is fucking amazing.
So yeah, you said that
And,
earlier
like-
where you were like, I'm gonna say some ignorant tourist shit. I was expecting you to say some dumb shit, but did you just mean like ignorant tourist, like you don't know any better? 'cause you're a tourist?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I mean, I think that's totally fine to
Yeah,
have that,
and- and-
like, because you've never been there. So.
Yeah, it is kind of like do you know the concept of Orientalism?
Loosely. I mean,
So, like, what that means is, so it's something
It's
that
foreign to
Edward,
you.
yeah, it's something that Edward Said kind of formulated, and it's this idea that like the fascination that, like, the weird racist fascination that Europe had with the East, that
right,
isn't
it was this
just
mystical foreign.
yeah,
land,
it's not just the racism that they felt towards like blacks, which was fundamentally different and dehumanizing. They viewed the East as like this magical place where like they're somehow both savage and foreign and all these things, but at the same time, like
Noble
they have
and,
noble and have these like mystic insights because there's this. So
Yeah.
it's this concept, and like that's what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to seem like I'm just being like, oh, these humble people, blah blah blah. I could live like that, but
Right,
dude,
like not having any
seriously, I
self-awareness.
could live like that.
Yeah.
I like, the money is hard, and I was talking to the guy, the dude who ran the thing, like our tour guide and everything. I was just
the business of just taking.
I was just talking to him and everything, and he was because while we were going up, this dude pointed out a really nice piece of property that was on the side of a mountain that was being sold, and he was like $300,000 for this, and we were just
crazy.
like.
That's like an average starter home in
That's
Florida.
literally where I was like, that buys you a fucking shack in St. Pete.
Yeah,
you know what I
seriously.
mean. So like, and the guy, I didn't say this, but the guy the Elon guy that was there, I just hit the mic, so I'm sorry if anyone heard that. But so the Elon guy was like, oh, that's not that much, and David Gonzalez was like, well, you got to understand, was trying to be very polite about
Yeah.
like how like to people like us, that's a dream.
Average salary, right?
Yeah, and
like,
so this whole time, this guy is like kind of trying to rush us along, and like he wants
We
to
got
kind of
places
get
to be,
he
come
wants to
on.
yeah, he's worried about getting back to the ship on time, but like we're at this beautiful fucking lodge where they have like fresh tamarind juice and they feed you there where you get plantains and rice and beans and chicken, like roast chicken.
Healthy,
That's
fat, and
all
happy.
there. That's all stuff that's like
All
sustainable.
the stuff that grows nearby. Yeah,
The you know, there's literally like all the animals that they cook are the ones that are there. All the plants that they use, because the lady who owns this lodge, and I'll shout it out again, it's called El Gallo Lodge. El Gallo Eco Lodge. Yeah, it's the rooster.
Yeah.
And apparently the lady who owns it was a cancer survivor, and she went up there to start growing medicinal plants to use and shit.
Okay.
So like it's fucking beautiful. I saw birds that I'd never seen, which is amazing to see. Like I saw this what's called a Hispaniola woodpecker, a beautiful woodpecker. So pretty, and like so all that shit. Like I'm truly don't mean to be like gay and sincere, but like it fucking blew my mind. And I was very happy with it, but it like made me want to be like, this is all going back to the Crispy doing the going to Puerto Rico. I was like, I want to really go to the Caribbean.
I
need to get my Spanish back up and experience it authentically, not as a tourist, but also not as someone who's like trying to be a vice journalist kind of.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I literally just want. Yeah, I literally just want to go and see and just like how the fuck would I.
Right.
Like
how would you interact with the world around you?
How would I just go and chill? Like,
but you know, there's also that ignorance of you don't know where to go and where not to go in the local territory.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think there's nothing wrong with being a tourist and going somewhere and checking out the tourist spots and then having the intention of coming back to it later.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to try a little less beaten path kind of options.
Yeah,
you know?
Go out of your way.
Right. And maybe next time maybe it won't be with Julie and Maddie.
And every time you go a little bit more out.
Yeah,
well, we need to do a boys trip.
We
the
should.
Three
We
of us
definitely
need to fucking do this
time.
boys trip to Cuba.
We'll go to Cuba. We'll go to Cuba. It's right there. It's fucking right there.
We need to fucking. We
I got
need
a
to
little
get
time
on it.
and money before I'm gonna start looking for full-time work again. You know.
Cause I'm an island boy and I've been trying to make. Oh, I'm an island boy. I'm a just island boy.
Yeah, we need to do that for sure. But that brings me into my. Have you been watching White Lotus at all?
I haven't watched Severance or White Lotus or anything new. Should I start watching it? I keep hearing stuff.
Well, White Lotus is more accessible because it's on Max.
So is it like, okay, the idea that I get without knowing anything about it is that it's this bougie kind of island hotel resort getaway, and there's some spooky not mystical, but spooky drama.
Yeah, the White Lotus is the hotel, and each season it's focused on some like mystery.
Spoiler alerts.
Yeah, okay. I'll potentially give spoiler alerts because I didn't watch
because I'll watch it.
Yeah, so you're apparently I watched a few episodes into season 2. I watched maybe 5 or 6 episodes of season 2.
Okay.
Because apparently you don't need to watch the seasons before, but this season there are callbacks to season 2. That I had to go look up spoilers for.
Right, it just doesn't make sense without it.
Yeah, but it honestly, like, at the same time, I could enjoy it without it. So, like, you could go into season 3 blind.
Kind of like a standalone?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it like new characters, new setup
New
every
characters,
season?
and this time it's a different hotel. It's a White Lotus in Thailand.
Oh, so it's okay. Let's say a franchise.
What's fucking fascinating about it is, like, this goes back to this conversation about being a tourist and everything, is it's definitely, like, it's definitely some sort of commentary on how the upper middle class and the rich view themselves,
and look down at the poor. Is it like a self-aware?
Not even just look down on the poor kind of a deal, but just like there's one character. Without giving too much spoilers, there's one character kind of on a revenge quest. There's one family that's there where the daughter was studying Buddhism and the dad is like a finance dad. And so, like, even the characters, there's a group of friends that, like, are, like, middle-aged friends that are there as kind of a getaway. And so, like, there's every single one of these dynamics is, like, what I don't know if what's being said in the show is explicitly what's trying to be said, because it's one director. It's, like, a single writer-director show. So it's this guy, Mike White or something, that writes it.
Yeah.
But, what is fascinating to me is the idea that, like, the whole show you have these, like, workers and this hotel that's the backdrop, and all these people are living the drama of their lives in this context of being at a resort. So within the resort context, they're in the hotel, they're doing activities that are for the hotel.
Yeah.
And none of that is the main story. But what's fascinating to me is that all this drama and all these individual things are happening to these like characters that like whatever they're dealing with is the most important thing in their lives at that time. Like there's a son who just wants to fuck. And like there's like a rich son who just wants to fuck, so just fucking and drinking is the most important thing that's going on there. He's oblivious to everything else. There's the daughter who's got this like Orientalist obsession with Buddhism and wants to like experience the spiritual side of stuff, but again is oblivious to the fact that like not necessarily oblivious, but is like makes herself an exception, like is like views all the other rich people as like, oh, I can't believe these rich people, but it's like you're still also at this resort,
right?
You know what I mean?
You're
And
still
like
here,
that's
you're
not
still part of it.
I don't know if the show's like if the writing is so good that like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a viewer and extracting all this from it because it's not explicitly said. But I just think it's fascinating that like my commentary that I'm getting from it and I don't need any specifics to voice this is that the idea is that this place, this beautiful spiritual place, is ultimately just a backdrop to these fucking horrible rich people's lives that they are destroying.
It's like the bear going on in the background.
Yeah.
While people are having their
there's
rich
monkeys and shit crawling around and like this like I see the scenery in this and I'm like, that is the most fucking beautiful place. I couldn't get into any of the drama of this show because I would be in awe at how fucking like, gorgeous.
You'd want to be there the whole time.
I would just be wanting to put my fingers in the water. I would want to be looking at one of these monkeys. I've never seen a monkey up close. I would fucking, you know how many hours I would stare at a monkey?
You'd be like, what the hell? Feed it stuff.
It's insane. It's insane. And it's like, I'm sorry that I capitalized on the whole perverse beginning of this conversation. But
yeah, no, I mean, I'll check out the White Lotus. I just like, I want to know if like what the stakes are. Is it like, is it just a drama?
Oh yeah, it's a drama. There is a mystery going on. It like the very first, just to spoil a little bit of the first episode, but the first like 10 minutes of the first episode of season 3 is some character's son is visiting their mom and is going through a meditation session. And then a bunch of gunshots ring out in the resort.
Oh, shit.
And then all these people are running around the resort, and this guy's going in and out of the water of this resort, and there's gun shooting. And then there's a time thing where it goes 1 week earlier. And then so you're going up into that thing. So the whole time
for the first season, it's just leading up to that moment?
Well, no, the first episode. That's the first episode of the season 3. So those are the stakes. And so all this, like right now, all these little people's lives are kind of unraveling in front of you. And you know in the back of your head that a week from where we started, a bunch of gunshots and shit rang out. So you're like, what the fuck happens?
Okay, and so there's always some twist that kind of,
Yeah, so those are the stakes, and I just happen to be incredibly, like, class aware recently because I've been, like, obsessively trying to get into stocks because I'm afraid of the world crashing.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, like, live this, I think I'm vicariously living through bourgeois content because I'm like having a quarter life crisis or whatever.
You're a rich girl.
No, my sister recently pulled out some money from I guess some crypto that she was invested in recently. That I guess she put like $300 in, and then it turned into like $1,200. I guess she was struggling to pull it out. I guess didn't know how to connect her accounts.
Yeah.
And then was trying to pull some money. And I was like, fuck, all the shit that I talk and the willful ignorance that I have to the world of crypto, I could probably have made some money by now. I thought that was my first thought. I'm like, fuck, I could have made something by now, I'm sure.
Dude, I fucked up on crypto so bad because I would buy into it, and then whenever it would do well, I would use it as like a mini bank account and sell. But if I had just only ever been buying into it this whole time, I'd have hundreds of thousands, or not, I exaggerate. I'd have at least $100,000.
Well, I'm obviously no financial expert, but I've had theories before where the money that you make, if you half it and invest half the money and save the other half, then you can.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the outcomes are 'cause I haven't tried it myself.
Stocks are such a fucking scam. It's insane. You get a Robinhood account and then like. So I just bought some shares and some stocks in my IRA because I don't know how any of this shit works.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, it's like I turned $40 into like $400 that apparently I don't have to pay taxes on because it's in my retirement. So if I just let that shit chill,
Yeah.
If I just let that shit chill,
I should honestly speak to like a financial advisor.
Well, and they
have a bunch of money sitting around.
And that fucking dividend shit.
Yeah.
Like literally, like you just put money into dividends and like
make money on
it just
money.
makes it's insane.
Yeah,
it's a
fun.
scam. It's a fucking
it's
scam,
kind of cool.
dude.
No, it is, and it's like, how do you get that higher? You know,
that's what I know. That's what I'm having. That's what the fucking crisis that I'm having right now. That's the crisis that I'm having right now. Is that
that's the answer everybody tries to figure out.
I'm a bad Marxist, dude. I'm a bad.
Well, no,
Marxist.
technically you're not, because you have to know the economy. Right?
You do.
You have to know the ins and outs.
That's what I told this guy on this trip. Is like,
how could you be a communist if we're living capitalism?
That's what I told this guy on this trip. Is I was just like, you know, because I'm a Marxist, I know the economy really well. Because once I told him that he before I told him I was a Marxist, he clocked me for knowing about crypto.
Yeah,
he like knew that I knew about crypto, and I was like,
you're one of those guys.
And so I was like, yeah, here's the deal.
I know you got a fat wallet, bro.
And I do know a bunch of shit about that, but it's because I am like critical.
You're a product of your environment. You know what I mean? We're products of our environment. You know.
Yeah, it's insane.
A child growing up in the parent's household is always gonna snap back at the parent. Okay, so we live in the house of capitalism.
It's insane. I feel like such a sellout, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, Tofu.
But yeah.
Oh, you're so sweet.
So
good little puppy.
What else is going on in the news?
So speaking of capitalism and money, let's talk about fucking Mega Money Powerball. Man.
Oh yeah, you just had your Mega Money.
Yeah, so we had our first show, and I'll just go through the ins and outs and not drag on too many details because I could. So like I said, it started off like a minor low-key disaster, and then it went decent, and then it shaped out to be a great night. And the only thing that really went wrong, besides the first part, which I'll get to in a second, is that Crispy and I had these like sunglasses. I had these like green like pointy sunglasses that are fun to wear, and I wore them to a Flem show a year ago, and I just wanted to wear them again. And I left them behind. Somebody probably fucking yoinked them. And he had these heart-shaped glasses that I just got for, just because they're cute, whatever. I don't know.
You've been looking through my heart-shaped glasses for 4 long 20s.
Dude, I've seen people with the black ones. The white ones are cool, but the red ones. So he was wearing them, and I guess the bassist of Mafia, his name is Nick, the band Mafia. They're like a screamo band. Shout out. He's like, Crispy, I'm gonna wear them. He's blind as hell because he's not wearing his regular glasses. He's like, what? Who just took them? What? and I watched it happen too, so I'm like aware of it happening. And then Crispy's not. So I told him literally yesterday about it. He's like, somebody grabbed them out of my pocket. I'm like, that was Nick. He said that to your face. You just couldn't hear his ass. Because 10,000 things were going on at the same time. And then apparently...
What if he got a chain snatched?
That's what I was saying. No, he lost his bracelet. And then I was like, oh, is this your bracelet you lost? We were standing in a circle, and he was like right at his feet. And he just, again, couldn't see it.
Dude, homie's getting chain snatched left and right.
It's the frazzle of a first show, and it doesn't go away after a first show. But here's how it fucking started to fall apart. So in the beginning, I'm carrying the Fender amp, the cab, and the orange head. So that's a lot on its own. But we also bring the heart key bass and the head for it too.
Yeah.
And I'm also bringing all of the cables, billion cables to connect, the split signal to both amps and the microphone cables, all that stuff. So I'm keeping account of a lot of shit. Crispy's brother Eric comes and helps us haul all the shit. So it's in 3 different cars, which I'm like, oh, that's confusing. We go there and I set up, and people just start coming in. So we're just saying hi to everybody before we even do a sound check. And I'm like, all right, everything's plugged in, everything looks good. All the lights are turning on, everything's testing, blah, blah, blah. And then people start piling in, and it's getting closer to the time to start to play. And then we're like, okay, let's do sound check. And me and the sound guy, we're like plugging everything in, we're just doing sound check. The mic's working fine, the bass amp's working fine, the guitar amp's not working fine at all. So for like 25 to 30 minutes, I'm sitting there scrambling, sweating, just like trying to figure out. I'm like, what the fuck? Is it the patch cables? Is it my power supply?
Holy shit.
Is it the back of is it the amps? What's going on? It turned out it was the cable that goes into the guitar amp, which was working just fine an hour before at band practice. And it was, so I had to get some guy in the other band, Cole in Mafia, to borrow his cable, and it finally worked. And so for the rest of what I'm about to say, I don't want to sound like I'm talking shit on Crispy because this is his first show. Yeah. So I obviously flubbed it a couple times. This happens. First shows, and even if you've been playing for a year, you're gonna fuck up once in a while. Yeah. But we had rehearsed a couple times, and his problem was that he kept dropping his sticks. But that wasn't even the worst of it, because that's forgivable, right?
Yeah.
Not
He's gonna listen to this, so be gracious.
He's gonna listen.
He's
No,
gonna be gracious.
I've already given it to him, so I've already given it to him. So after like one song, we like kind of fuck it up halfway through, and he's just like, "Wait, hold on," and he stops playing, and I'm looking back, I'm still playing because I thought he dropped the stick, so he's gonna grab it and pick it back up. He's like, "No, we gotta restart." And then he runs up to the mic and he's just like, "I'm sorry, guys, I'm nervous." And I'm like, "What are you doing?" I look at him, I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? Get the fuck back there!" And I look at him like about to start like yelling at him. I'm like, I don't want to be an asshole to Crispy in the middle of like snapping on him, even though we'll shit on each other as like a joke, but but like I'm not gonna snap on him in front of people.
To come all the way up and say I'm nervous.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, so that was the first time I'm like, all right, let's fucking take it from the top again. Like, you know? And it was apparently from the audience perspective, they thought it was really cute and charming. And I wasn't mad at all or anything. I was just like, what's happening? You know, because I went through like 30 minutes of pure stress. So I'm just happy to get it going. But that wasn't even the worst part. So I'll tell his second little flub later, but the microphone, I guess, wasn't grounded. The wiring wasn't grounded right.
Oh, shit.
So I was trying to sit there singing. I put my mouth like close to or against the mic, and I would feel this shock through my fucking bones and into the frets of the guitars.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, I was just like, every time I was like,
haven't you seen that movie Almost Famous? That's how he gets like, he like goes up. And
you can die from
he
that.
He like grabs the thing. He's like, and they gotta like, and then at a certain point, they're all singing Tiny Dancer in the van.
That almost happened to me,
Yeah,
dude. It charged up my pacemaker.
Rockstar lifestyle might not make it.
Long hair don't care. You know what I mean? Pull me in my cup. But okay, so then Crispy's next flub was that he did fucking launch this drumstick during one of our songs, and we're both
hit
blind.
Some little non-binary girl or whatever.
No, it was Tallow from Super Bitch. She came
yeah.
to watch our show, and she was there. And he didn't see it was her at all, but
that's funny.
It took him like a good couple seconds to grab it. So besides that,
he didn't have a bag next to him.
No, we normally do. Steven has this like holster that he keeps sticks in, but I guess we didn't bring that.
Hindsight's 20/20. I don't mean to Monday morning quarterback.
No, I mean,
keep going. Let's keep going.
It's a learning experience.
I'm calling the plays after the games. You know what I mean?
What do you mean you didn't fucking?
Yeah, what am I talking about? I wasn't there.
Put any fucking lube on your guitar? I prepared just about as much as I could. Like, besides the extra cable and all that shit, that was really the big stressor for me. But even his little flubs were cute and forgivable, and it didn't matter, you know. But the rest of the show was fine after that. Like, we had a big scare right before everybody played that it didn't say 21 and up on the flyer. It's a fucking bar. It's the American Legion. And I asked about it too. I was like, should I put 21 up on this flyer? It was my flyer, so I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't put it on there, but I did ask, and I didn't get into, not to talk shit, but anyway, so the lady was going to come up and be like, we got to shut this whole thing down. We got to cancel this event because it didn't say 21 and up on the flyer, and there's kids here who are under 21. And I'm just like,
start marking people's hands. What the fuck? Who cares?
That's, at first, she's like, we just don't want to lose our liquor license. And I'm like, I'm trying to be like as calm and rational as her as possible because they were like, everybody around me was freaking out for a second. And I'm just like, well, what if we kick out the 21-year-olds? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, we can't cancel the show. We've been waiting for this shit for months,
Yeah.
And then after a while, they calmed down, and I was just like, I'll put a sign up, make a post on Instagram. You can watch the door. I don't know what to tell you. Like, we can figure this out. You don't have to shut the fucking show down,
Yeah.
So eventually they calmed down, and it was fine, and the show went on. The show was good.
Yeah.
We all hung out, so.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know if there's some permitting thing, but there's tons of shows where you just you mark people's hands and you don't let them go in and out. That's the rule.
And I forgot that in the moment.
Yeah, you mark people's hands and then you say if you're under 21, no re-entry.
Yeah,
like because that's what
exactly,
that's what Orpheum does that shit where you mark your hands and then you're not going in and out of the bar so they know that these kids aren't like.
But to their credit though, they are more explicitly a venue than a bar, and the American Legion is like a veteran
bar,
hangout.
Yeah,
it's a veteran
bar.
hangout.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, you got all the fucking crusty.
They typically don't want kids there.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that.
But it's a great place. They were extremely polite. Made a decent amount of money. We got to split up, and
that's what I like to hear.
I
like to get down to that nitty gritty.
That's what I'm saying.
The financials.
We don't have a lot of merch yet, but I was talking to Crispy about it. Not to get too deep in the money zone, but if people are interested in the demo CDs, they're really not that expensive to make. the sleeves, decorating them, putting the CD in there, putting a little label on the CD. Probably cost you maybe about $1.50, $2 per CD. So if you charge like, I said $6 because we'd split it, 3 to 3, me and Crispy, and
we'll just
make
record
it a couple bucks per CD.
Yeah, you guys recorded an actual demo yet?
We're still in the middle of it because we need to set up the drum mics at the unit, and we need to get Steven over there to do that. So, and he lives in Bradenton, so it's a bit of a coordination. On the weekends is the best.
We have
time.
that isolation box too. I mean, I can just come help you guys one day.
Yeah, you should come by on like a Saturday or something. Not this one because I got stuff I got to do family wise.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was our show. It was fun. Got to shout everybody out. People obviously didn't know anything about us or any of our songs or anything.
Yeah, why would they have any reason to? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they were having fun. There was a couple of people throwing themselves around and getting rowdy and stuff. So that's really all the best you could hope for a show.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I expect it to be. It's all just like vibes anyway.
It just gets better too. The more you do it, the more you book, the more you put out like some promo material for people to kind of consume, and to like, 'cause that's really what it is you put something out there for people like a demo, and then the next few months or so before you put something else out, you just keep giving them other stuff to kind of bite on.
You gotta make the money first. Then when you get the money, you get the power. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I had this epiphany on this cruise, and where I was just like, dude, I could be one of these fucking. I think we should just give up the band shit, period, and do fucking like, dude, this like. So there at cruises, there's this big thing called piano bars, which is just like it's a bar where everyone sits around a dude who's playing the piano, and the guy takes song requests. And then everyone sings along, and it's always like that, like "Sweet Caroline," and then this shit like that, or it's like
white people drinking
dude.
music.
Yeah, exactly. They're like he fucking will play country roads, all this shit, and it's just old people sitting around. Julie loves it.
Yeah,
she loves that shit.
White people
there's
love
a fucking
white people
over
shit.
by Crate. There's a piano bar over by Crate. And I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Here Comes Treble or Treble. No, it's called Treble Makers.
So it's kind of like a karaoke, but with less investment, right?
No, there aren't other people there. It's a
what?
It is not. So it's not other people singing. It is a piano player taking song requests, and they're with just a piano singing songs.
Yeah, but the people are singing along with them, right?
Just as far as like everyone is like it's a collaborative thing. So when he does "Sweet Caroline," the whole crowd goes ba ba da.
Oh, okay. So they're not all singing everything he's doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, so like it's how I got into the. So there are songs that like I found through that like family tradition. Have you ever heard that?
Drake or from Kendrick?
No,
oh, fuck.
No, that's Family Values or some shit. I don't know. No,
I'm a fake ass.
Fucking Family Tradition by Hank Williams Jr.
Oh fuck!
And he's just
Jesus Christ!
He's just like, why do you drink?
Yeah.
And then, like the fucking that's like a big one that people sing. But the Sweet Caroline is a huge one. Just like how cruise songs have those line dancing songs, like down do your thing. Like those are like
that like South Park song,
dude. They fucking love that. Like cruise lines. The first day they had the deck party. Maddie was out in the crowd, and it's just all as far as you can see, like every race. All
Beautiful.
of the most middle class whites and the richest blacks, all integrated.
A quilt of
beautiful
just
tapestry, a melting pot, and they're all out there fucking just like I'm down.
I'm
Han
Solo.
Yeah, it's shit like that, or like wobble 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 wobble, like that wobble song, and it's,
That's great, and I love these post 2010 like songs. That,
it's fucking insane.
These Zoomer generation,
dude.
Because remember when we would go to like these middle school dances and they'd see us doing like apple bottom jeans and shit like that. Yeah. I can only imagine the adults of that day being like, these kids, they're doing these fucking sex songs and dances and shaking their butts and stuff. And now it's like their own
because
version.
Every adult is in an Arrested Development. You have like 40-year-olds out there on the dance floor on their like fifth fucking Jack and Coke, just like with like blow the whistle. You know what I mean? Just like dude, the amount of like
whipping nene.
It was so. I'm gonna be not woke, and I'm gonna do cultural commentary for a minute.
Right,
but the amount of like black dudes our age that were trying to like act too cool for a cruise.
Really?
Like, the amount of them that I saw
like
with this
shit.
One guy in particular, the whole time was like had the most intense forced resting bitch face, and he was there with two like really nice women because I talked to him for a minute.
They're just
and
sweethearts.
the whole time. the whole trip, that every time I saw him and would walk by him, even before I ever engaged with their group, because you just see people on the cruise the whole time, the entire time, he just did not look like he was having fun at any
no
point.
matter what. Was he a teenager?
No, he was like
man?
our age, yeah. And he like the whole time he just like would look pissed, and it was like, and this was multiple instances of like, of just like,
I mean,
you know, they're like of just like multiple times where it would be like. Just older, or like I shouldn't generalize it to like just black dudes our age, because there were a few like Oakley's style white guys that were just like there's something session with dudes who were like too cool when it's like you're on a fucking cruise.
Too cool for cruise.
Everyone's in flip flops.
Cool for cruise, man. I want to get on this.
You know what I mean?
Cruise.
Like you're ordering a dirty Shirley. Like you know, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. So it was a dude. A cruise is a fascinating.
5 days, right?
No, it was like 5. It was so 6 days all in all, because it was left on Sunday morning, got back the following Saturday morning.
Oh wow!
So it was like
almost a week.
Yeah, so basically almost a week. Because I don't count those last 2 days, because those last days are
travel.
Like it's mainly travel days and shit. We went to Buc-ee's on the way up because there's a Buc-ee's in Daytona, and like
oh shit, that's the one they just built there, right?
Yeah, you've been to Buc-ee's, right?
Yeah, I've been to a couple, and they're. Are we getting into our opinions?
I think your opinion should be should be a disclaimer on the fact that you're a vegan.
Okay, that's a good point. That is a very good point. So I can't partake in the brisket and whatever. What's
That's
it called?
it's the brisket.
What do they say?
Shit.
Like fresh brisket on the ding
he's
dong.
like meat on the block.
Meat
and
on the
it's just
block.
like some like trucker guy with
hot
like
chop on the meat
fucking
block.
trucker guy with like fentanyl like fucking burns and shit in.
And they're always wearing cowboy hats.
Yeah, they're all wearing.
So I get the idea behind that, but for me, it's not a great experience as a vegan. So I look at Buc-ee's as overrated, underwhelming.
Yeah,
because I don't care about the other shit they have there, like the furniture, you know, and the little gift shop and all that stuff.
Yeah, you don't care about the merch.
I don't care about that stuff. I'm like, give me some fucking good shit, you know?
Yeah.
I did break veg when I went there the last time on tour, and I had their veggie burrito, and it has some cream sauce in it.
Oh, yeah.
So I was worried it was going to make me schlitz everywhere, you know? Just schlitz.
Well, dude, and it's not like, it's not cheap.
Right.
So it's not cheap. So like we spent $100 when we went to Buc-ee's.
Allow me to introduce myself. I represent
the Buc-ee's.
This too damn high party.
For just food snacks and shit?
Yeah, for food snacks, and like I got Maddie like a little bracelet or whatever too, because she's always obsessed with it. She's a little consumer.
I got a souvenir.
But
I mean,
dude,
I don't give a fuck about it, but I'll still
like we wanted to start loading up on like tacos and shit like that, because they do like the breakfast tacos, and like I like the brisket. So I went to go get a brisket sandwich, fucking $9 for a brisket sandwich.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like, this is a gas station. A taco is fucking $6 for a little breakfast taco, breakfast burrito.
High demand.
And I was like, man, this is like, I know it's like fresh meat, and I know it's good when you eat it and stuff, but I'm like, man, it's just not like if I got as much shit as I wanted to, like if I got a fast food order's worth of shit from there, I would have ended up spending
without,
like $150
a hole in your fucking wallet.
Shit. Yeah.
So, and that's the thing too, is that like it's the same thing with going to Trader Joe's and stuff. And people will just buy that shit just for the brand, but there is exclusive stuff there that
some Trader Joe's shit is so good.
Yeah.
Like,
the one Buc-ee's thing that I did really enjoy were the I don't know the name of it because I'm a hater. Obviously, I'm a fake ass.
Fucking, you hate them, yeah.
Because I hate them.
You hate them.
No, I don't. I'm just not in love like everybody else. Like dude, the puffs. They were like the little.
Oh, the beaver nuggets.
Beaver nugs.
Yeah,
they were pretty good.
Yeah, are those
they
ones?
Were not what I wanted, but they were enjoyable.
Yeah, dude, they had a white cheddar one that tasted like Smart Pop, and then they had one that was a sweet one that tasted like Honey Smacks almost.
Oh, I saw that one. I was gonna grab it. Which I normally don't go for sweet shit. I think I had like a buffalo one or some shit.
No, honestly, yeah, I like buffalo a lot.
Yeah, because sometimes buffalo's hit or miss. But.
Dude, I mean the buffalo fucking Pretz combos. I love the buffalo combos. Those things are like the buffalo blue cheese combos.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I haven't had combos in like a fucking decade. Jesus Christ,
dude. I mean, because to me they're not like.
I used to fuck those up, especially the pizza ones back in the day.
Are Takis vegan?
Maddie fucks, I think they are. It's just wheat with the little fucking tahini all over it.
Yeah, Maddie fucks with the Takis hard, and every now and then I'll have some, and I'll be like, "This isn't bad," but I just never. They never. It's not something I would ever go for. Yeah. Like, what's a top tier? I think Funyun is probably my top tier gas station
Funyuns are some of the best.
Yo, Funyuns rip.
I love the
stanky ass breath though.
The spicy Funyuns that they came out with. You ever had those?
Oh, the flaming hot Funyuns? No, I haven't. But every time I debate it, it's just anytime I'm in the mood for Funyuns, I want Funyuns.
No, you want the onion stank flavor in the back.
Yeah, because they be stank. You be smelling so bad.
Because it's like this is not a real thing when I'm eating. It's like a puff of It's like made in the computer from Star Trek. It's just like this isn't real material.
Yeah, that's Marx didn't realize, like, when he theorized what post
he could have never thought.
When he thought, like, when he theorized post scarcity,
he didn't think about gay luxury space communism.
He never pictured a Funyun. Like, he never pictured the fact that, like, our society could craft a Funyun.
Yeah. I think that would have changed the game for them. You know, if he saw an iPad for the first time, he'd be like, oh yeah.
Oh, he would love capitalism if he saw an iPad.
He'd be like, you know what? Maybe things aren't so bad.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because he's Germanic, right?
He was German, yeah.
So nobody does the Karl Marx German voice because it sounds a little controversial.
I like the whole. Do you remember when Putin was talking about how he was like going to release things from like the oldest vault? He's got like how Putin apparently had these ancient vaults, and he was gonna like release. I love that. He was gonna release.
Sounds like an Elder Scrolls boss.
He was gonna release information that showed that like Jesus and the apostles were black. It was like in Putin.
What does he have to gain
from
that?
It's like Putin's vault. It's
what
like black Jesus is in Putin's vault.
Nothing in any Bible describes Jesus as a Caucasian guy.
Dude, that kleptocracy, they just like stirring shit around.
Well, I think what it is that black Karl Marx is in Putin's vault. Because you see some pictures of Karl Marx and you're like, that's a brother.
Where he looks, quote unquote, swarthy.
Yeah, he looks. He looks scheming. He looks like a Moor. To use the parlance of the day, he looks like a damn ass Moor.
Moorish, yes.
Yeah, he looks very Moorish.
Morlando.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Karl Marx could be a brother.
He could be a brother. You know what I'm saying? He could have some brother in him.
And he said,
brother adjacent.
Unc Marx. Unc Marx. Now listen here, young brother, to Engels.
Now listen,
brother Engels.
Brother Engels. I don't want to riff on that.
Yeah, I mean we could go further, but I wonder if like
that's teetering.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's teetering.
I don't know. We could do Barbados Marx. It's just like. Oh, the surplus capital. Oh, it'd be bumbleclad.
I don't know if we can go to Barbados on that one.
No, dude. West Indies, Barbados Marx.
I know you just came from there, okay? You feel like you got that little...
Oh, my God. Dude, Julie got so mad at me because there's so many white dudes, like white people getting braids on the beach. And every time we walk by them, I go, go and get your hair braided, white boy.
Get your twist up.
And Julie and Maddie were getting so embarrassed.
They're like, stop.
Because I did. I had fucking like 5 Presidentes at that point and like a pina colada or some shit, and I was just we would walk by them, they'd be on the beach, and I'd be like, go on, get your hair braided, white boy. And they'd be like, and Julie kept going, they're gonna think you're mocking them, and I am mocking them.
Yeah, but I am.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
But not mocking the island people. I'm mocking the white people, but she meant that it comes off as me mocking
a white
the
boy
island
people. With a box braid, you know? That's unnatural. It's unnatural.
It's not natural.
And it never happened in the Vikings.
We're so fucking red when they get back to the boat because
don't see the sunlight.
They're like, not only do their scalps never see sunlight, but they have to fucking yank their hair so tight to get the kind of like grip on it that they need for that.
It's just
so those white boys, when they come back, their hair like is like,
oh, you mean so it's like red blood scalp?
Their scalps are fucking red from being tight and shit. And if they had listened to me when I had said, "Gwan, get your hair, bumbleclad, get your hair braided, white boy," they would have reflected. Yeah,
male monkey.
Yeah,
but you know, I would have been like halfway through if I heard that. If somebody walked by and be like, "Go and get your hair twisted, white boy," I'd be like, "We might have to stop. We might have to turn this off for a second."
Leave it where it is, dude. I work with a motherfucker. I don't want to out him, but I will out him. His name's and I work with him, and he's like, he's like, I don't know what his disposition is. It's like borderline hippie, but like not. He's like hippie, but like also
so like new age kind of woke, but not really.
New age,
spiritual.
He's new age white boy as far as like if he didn't have, if he wasn't like a no cap bussin' kind of white boy.
Okay.
He would be, he like so that he's
New
like
age Gen Z almost?
Yeah, he's new
Okay.
and it's fucking bizarre. But he keeps his hair braided like island braids, and they're constantly falling out. And he recently died.
braids
The
themselves?
braids are constantly falling out. Like he
'Cause he
can't
got
keep them in because he's got white boy hair. He's got fine, fair white boy
Oh, the
hair.
thin, tiny.
And he tries to keep like, you know, like when you see like like when you see like a white lady who's got like all the tiny beads.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And like you're like that looks
Bead braid.
ridiculous. He's got those. It's that kind of braids, the bead braids.
Oh no.
So he's got
That's
a
some
bunch
90s
of
shit.
beads. Yeah,
That's
he
some like
looks,
little Bow Wow shit.
Yeah, he looks like he's trying to be a little Bow Wow. And then he recently dyed his hair like extra dark. So I'm like, I even asked, I was like, what ethnicity is your hair are you trying to do with your hair? And he thought I was just fucking around, but I literally was asking for like science reasons.
Dude.
You know, that's my problem with being known as a goofer is because sometimes I want to know from an anthropological standpoint.
Right, and people think you're just fucking busting
Yeah,
their
but
balls.
people think I'm just fucking around. I don't know.
You have the inquiry, you have the inquisitive mind of the Enlightenment, you know. But I think a lot of these Gen Z kids, they just like mix and mash a lot of the post 2000s and 1990s like new metal aesthetic into this amalgam, right? Like there was a lot of popularity resurgence with TikTok where it was like grunge, 90s style, Deftones, screamo, chains, like spikes and.
Have you seen that one video of that one dude who looks like the Sum
Not
40?
talking shit about it, by the way.
Yeah, have you seen that one like Sum 41 looking dude where it's like a day in my life and he like wakes up and he like chugs a monster?
I think I've seen
and it's
him,
like
yeah.
hyper color and
Yeah.
moving really fast and he's just like a skateboarding Sum 41 guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And people online were like, actually his dad is like a Raytheon executive. It's like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
You
that
get all
he's
the
like,
resources in the world to be a.
all the little things, and his dad's like fucking pressing buttons for drone strikes at Black
erasing
Rock.
people off the map. That'll be another 14 billion. Thank you. Yeah, that's a harrowing reality. Speaking of which, just turning things a little dark now. Let's go to this little dark zone for a second. It's kind of funny how I'll just speak for myself because I don't want to say we as a species or we as even you and I. But I'll speak for myself in that it's easier to not think about death and all of the horrible shit going on in the world, but most specifically death and that you will die or that somebody that you know will die because it's just something that is so like, it will shake you out of whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
I have a constant fear of death for sure.
There's one thing that I'm thinking of is the anxiety of death, that it's going to happen or that something could happen to you that is undesirable or unpleasant. But the fact that I'm talking about like the utter extinguishment of something, like that somebody that you know or that for example, war happening across the seas is just wiping out life.
This is the most insane left turn.
Yeah, sorry.
Conversationally. No,
But I mean,
think,
just death in general is something that people. I think that was my main point: is that people actively avoid
people
thinking
can't
about
conceptualize nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Is that
yeah.
the cessation of something, the ending, the death, and the finality of something is just so overwhelming to confront that even if you try to confront it, it's only momentarily, and the rest of the time, it's in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
You know? And I've had a couple of intimate experiences with grief recently, or especially over the past 5 years. But it's just something that I'm like, it does temper a bit of your decision making, you know? And if you don't have that sometimes, and what I mean is that there's got to be a balance of it, right? Like I'm not saying, I didn't mean to dismiss you, like you think of death and it's just on the anxiety side of things instead of just being like, this is something that will temper my thoughts and decisions, you know? But I think there's a middle ground between that where it's like, that is a very scary, harrowing thing to think about, and it will give you anxiety, like, what am I doing with my life? Should I be doing better with the quality of my living or with my behaviors and actions and this and that? And then on the other hand, you can use that to tell yourself, it is going to happen, and I should use that as a motivator instead of, like, as a source of fear, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I recently had heard...
That's where I'm at least.
So I've been... The further I go into like seeing, as opposed to when I used to see cognitive behavioral therapists, and then I saw what's called an ACT or therapist that specialized in ACT.
Yeah.
I saw that kind of stuff recently, but what's really helped me is seeing a psychoanalyst. And
you were talking about that
thing
last
that
time.
I found pretty profound, and actually this came up on this podcast that I listened to, and this exact wording is the wording that they used. in parallel with what I had recently learned from all this Freud and stuff, and then from also attending psychoanalysis stuff. But so cognitive behavioral therapy and all those things, they want to treat the symptoms
Right.
of the mood, the trauma that you're facing.
Yeah.
And what psychoanalysis does is it changes psychoanalysis is recognizing the symptom and changing your relationship to it.
Right.
Saying that certain symptoms, especially existential conditions that are a part of part of the human condition, like how we would like grief.
Right.
So like grief, the ultimate thing about grief, about death, is that it's inescapable. And like exactly like you're saying, the way that you confront that is it's either motivating or it's deterring or it's somewhere in between, all this kind of stuff. But with death, because it is so assured and final, and it is such a reality, whether or not we embrace it or not,
Yeah.
it means that that's one of the few things that all people understand. You just have to change your relationship to it.
Exactly.
You can't ever avoid it. You have to change your relationship to it.
That's kind of my point as well, is that the perspective, and even just not even just confronting it, but like by having the relation, by acknowledging it, by being aware of it, and and just utilizing it to your advantage, or by being aware of how it conquers you, as far as instilling the fear or anxiety in you of the inescapability of it.
Yeah, and I think that that's actually important for like a political project too. Is that
it's important to highlight, especially mindless killing.
Yeah, a political project, like what we would call, so like what we're looking for on the left, an emancipatory political project would be one that aims to change our relationships to the trauma, like to the social trauma that we're all facing.
Right,
and
so
part
it's
of
more
that
psychoanalytical perspective, rather than dealing with the symptoms and or rather the trauma, the outcome of the trauma that have occurred due to the systemic processes that have led to it.
Because like Adorno and Husserl, not Husserl, Adorno and them, like a lot of post-Marxians of like the 20th century, they like post-Freud Marxists of the 20th century.
Right.
A lot of them theorize these kind of social symptoms that we deal with, and I think that like part of what you're saying about death, like relating it to like that's kind of what jogged my idea about this, is what you're saying about death, is it's true that like exactly what you're saying about like you can choose to let it motivate you. You can choose to like there's things about it that you can change in recognizing or avoiding it, but avoiding it is having a relationship with it.
And there's also, I think there's a couple interesting aspects of addressing or acknowledging death too, is that you're bombarded by it constantly in the news cycle, to a point where it's almost meaningless because it doesn't actually personally affect you. And then something like what happened to my cousin recently, for example, I saw the news report of it, and I'm not trying to make it sound like this is a big traumatic thing, but just the kind of like taking a step back and seeing how they were like, 27-year-old died in a crash today, blah, 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 and they moved on immediately. It's just kind of like this thing that you just move on from because it's another story, it's another day, it's another thing that happens, it's another statistic. Yeah. And that's the thing that I kind of want to stray away from, is that people really will not try to have an intimate understanding of death unless it actually happens to you. And nobody wants it to happen to them.
Yeah.
I don't want it to happen to me. I don't want to have seen, not to get so morbid about it, but, it's like, sometimes you need to see that body in front of you to see that that's a real thing that's going to happen.
Well, isn't that like what Stalin said? Stalin is like, one single death is a tragedy, but like a million deaths is a statistic. And I think that we're at the point now where like, I think we're at the point now where like all deaths are just statistics because our society is so hyper violent. You know what I mean? Like,
even an individual death.
Well, even an individual death at this point, because it's all related to something that we view as systemic.
It's almost to be expected now.
Yeah,
right? Like every week or so, you expect to hear about a shooting.
And because we understand the things that only really upset us are like freak health deaths.
Yeah.
Because it's the things that like
beyond control.
Yeah,
of anybody,
exactly.
Right?
But as far as everything else goes, because honestly, I like blame that sort of like liberal dissection of like that kind of non-emancipatory deconstructionism that liberals take part in, where they'll be like, I know that's a lot of jargon, but like what I mean by that is that like when they blame like, okay, so crime is based off of this societal factor, or so like, okay, no, actually, here's a better example. This girl, or sorry, this woman was killed by her ex, and so we know that we know that women are like murdered by partners exponentially more,
domestic violence,
higher chances. So we know all these like systematic things that happen that lead to abuse of women in this way.
Right.
But what happens in us pathologizing that is that it changes our relationship to it, and it makes it more of a phenomena as opposed to something that happened to a person.
It's this abstract, logical kind of occurrence rather than literally what the factors are between a person's lives. That in between the intersection of their relationships.
All this stuff is true. A drunk driving death is a great example of this too. Everything about the tragedy of a drunk driving death is true, but on top, like all the like, you know, systematic things about like, oh, people shouldn't be able to have this access. All that stuff
it's a cultural
is true.
issue that drinking and driving.
Totally true. Or like mass shootings. All the stuff that you want to say,
issue,
all that stuff is true.
Gun policy should be changed.
Yeah, all of it's
what
true.
Is the individual factor
but also
that
somebody died.
Right?
Yeah. And
that was a question. Not to get too deep in the details here because we still have to go through all of the stuff. But that was something I kept thinking about when my cousin passed too. Is like, how do you? So this happens to you. It's an alarming, shocking thing. And one of your first thoughts is like, oh, it's because drunk driving, for example, is so casual in our culture today. How do you change that? Not even on a state level or even a local level, but on a cultural level, you know? But then again, that doesn't take away from the individual, rather, it does take away from the individual issue because it's, you know. Conversely, let me kind of play the devil's advocate. There are moments where it's like with a school shooting where people will advocate for the victim and then make a large mass movement based on that. That can impact, you know, gun policy, for example.
Well, we know from being.
But then fucking DeSantis is like, college students should be able to carry guns. You know, let's pass legislation on that.
Well, we know the Marxist way to approach that is that multiple things are true. Yeah. Is that multiple things are true at the same time, and like that. What the real problem is that like we have to address. It is true when we're going back to the domestic violence things. Yeah, you need to, and you should be able to, and you have to find a way to address the fact that women deal with more violence in these ways.
Right,
and you need to do it in a way that doesn't depersonalize it because there's a victim behind every single one of these
instead
things.
of just being like, this is going to happen to women.
We need to find a way, and I think the true answer is the way that reporting on things and the way these things are sensationalized. I think that this is a media thing more than anything. Because we have to be able to, media has to be able to find a way, because it sensationalizes things. Media has to be able to find a way to exploit the sensational aspects of any certain tragedy. When there needs to be a way for us to confront the individual tragedy that doesn't dehumanize victims of things, but then also address the broader issues that, whether it be like sexual violence or whether it be gun violence, there needs to be ways to address these broader social problems. And that can't be done the way the news is set up. I mean, it's been said a million times before, but that can't be done in like a 30-second,
No, you're right.
And also, and coming up, this happened where you spend 5 minutes on a topic at most because the news cycle has to go on.
Right, and there used to be journalistic pieces on things that would kind of elaborate, and that would fill up the news cycle a bit more. But I think that's kind of what it's become. Is I think the media, like you said, can be a great tool for spreading messages and information to the masses in a way that isn't highly propagandized. If that's the ideal intent.
Because we're not just talking about corporate media. We're talking about
exactly.
We're talking about this could be freelance journalism. It can be anything.
Exactly, and that's not what's popular, and that's not what sells. And that's not true. What is in charge. Corporate media is ultimately just about the news cycle, in and out, in and out, in and out. And so if that's what basically is being consumed by the masses and can set the tone for the talking points and narration of the media that they're putting out there, then that can affect the masses in a negative way. It's kind of like what we were talking about, the dilution of art over commercialization of it since I don't know, since the early 60s and 70s.
Yeah,
you know?
because everything needs to be so easily consumable
Exactly.
and marketable. It makes everything vapid and feel hollow. Even when it's even when it's the reporting of a fact, it can feel.
It has to be a tidbit or a bite.
Yeah,
like a 2 minute
It has
clip.
to be hollow. You know,
and then you're just moving on. There's no real insight that is just like tonight's story is about blah blah blah, and we're gonna But anyway, I guess that's a whole different conversation about.
Well, we needed one little bummer for this. We always have something political that we talk about, and I think this was the only, because we're at just peek behind the curtain. We're at like a little over an hour now, and that
I thought we'd been over an hour.
No, yeah, we're at an hour and 5 minutes.
And I didn't want it to get too dark. I kind of wanted it to be more like philosophical.
No, but that's perfect.
Because we had political discussions. Excuse me, I'm getting a little excited now. Political discussions, and they get a little dark, but that's because there's dark shit going on around us.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like we were talking about with death, you can't ignore it all the time.
Yeah,
you gotta acknowledge it. You know?
Yeah, and I think that we're all feeling a little existential as of late,
right?
Just because changing the seasons and all that can go either way.
I noticed that recently. It's basically spring here now, even though we still got some nice cool nights.
Yeah, and just that change.
It's just it's shifted. And that's why I'm feeling a bit more like awake and alive and energetic. I want to exercise again, like I'm out of hibernation.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think people need to, I had some sincerity moments at the beginning of the episode, and you had sincerity moments now. And I think people...
Yap off,
Well, people are going to get used to the fact that sometimes we'll be jokey, kings, and then other times we'll just be like, honest, like... We got nothing to hide, and this is the most kind of therapy that we're getting right now.
We haven't seen each other in a while too, so I didn't even get to any of my topics.
Dude, I'm the same way. The only topics that I had, that's why I was like, I want to talk about the cruise a little bit, but then all the like actual broad politics topics and stuff that I had, I just.
Plus, it's the half-life of the media. The news story just fucking fades away so quickly.
Should just go so quickly. That does remind us. So since we're wrapping up now, we're gonna put. You guys will see the last episodes will have been out in pretty quick succession. This episode will come out a week following the recording time. So
you've been listening to Chuff Chat Pod.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to do that earlier, like when you were having a serious moment.
You're having Chuff Chat.
You've been listening. You're having Chuff Chat in the.
I have a
backpack skid ride.
I have a radio voice that like.
Yeah.
The one that I've sent you, but I have to get into. I have to find a. Wow! Hold on, no. So the way that I get into it is the way that the way that how I get into it is I do Ash Ketchum. I do like an anime cartoon voice, and then I bring it up here and I get a little more raspy, and then I go, wow! Here it is. Hey folks, wow! You've been listening to Chuff Chat.
You've been listening to Chuff Chat.
Chuff Chat with White James Brown on the Condor. So yeah, once I've got I like it takes me a little bit to get into that, but I figure if we ever get ads, I'll figure out how to bust out.
I think of what was the fucking Lil Yachty? Remember it was this
hey boat, little boat, like when he does the little
no, not the high pitched one. It was oh fuck, I can't think of it now.
Or are you thinking of Todd? Are you thinking of Snoop Dogg's Todd?
No, because you like you said you start off high pitched, but I go like it's kind of like the damn son where you find this voice. I can't think of it at all right now.
Oh, dude, but what's the Snoop Dogg? What's the Todd what? What does he say? Oh, white guys connect.
Oh, yeah, white guys connect.
White guys connect. I'm Todd. White guys connect.
Hi, guys. It's Todd again. Well, my bros want me to tell you about this new website, White Guys Connect.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yeah, but that's not what he says, and I was thinking of that too. And I was just like,
real trap shit.
Yeah, I'm stuck on that. I'm fucking old head shit. Like, if you don't remember anything from your past.
When Crispy gets back, and we find we have the technology for a third microphone, we need to start recording Black Excellence worldwide.
True, that'll keep us on our toes because we can't falter.
Yo, Crispy,
and keep us updated on the news.
Yo, Crispy, Black Excellence worldwide, and then it's like a 45-minute segment where he talks about Hennessy prices.
Tell him what's going on. We ask him what's going on in Black Twitter because he's always showing
what's going on in the world of Black Twitter. That's why Black Twitter stuff pops up on my Twitters because I was like,
it doesn't matter if Elon takes over. Black Twitter is going to go strong.
Yeah, no, it'll always survive. He'll never. Trans Twitter and Black Twitter will always be there.
The barbs, Nicki Minaj's barbs are always gonna be there.
They're always swarming.
The Swifties.
You got anything to plug?
Just making money Powerball on Instagram. We're gonna try and get the fucking demo up by 420, hopefully.
Hell yeah. Hell
We're
yeah.
gonna try and book a show
So
422.
We'll have more episodes before then, so we'll make sure that you guys keep updated with
Yeah, whenever
that.
this comes out, 420 is the goal date.
In theory, this episode will be out April 4th. So,
oh shit!
And this episode is scheduled to be out April 4th. You guys can hold me to that, and then we'll be on a normal schedule, and we'll start talking about more topical news.
Quick editor's note. Wow, guys, I really goofed on that. April 4th. Wow, man, I really goofed on that one. Sometimes you just kind of whiff it, right? I really messed that one up, you guys.
Yeah.
Because we were going to talk about, I was going to bring up how the fucking State Department CC'd a fucking reporter on war plans. But by the time
that was
this
fake
comes,
when I first saw it.
Yeah, but by the time that this episode comes out,
Yeah, it's
we
gonna be
will
a
have
little
like
outdated.
we will have been up like it'll be like, oh, Putin got texted the nuclear
Yeah, right,
codes.
right,
You know
right,
what I mean? Like, so
I don't know. Sometimes I like to listen to old episodes of podcasts. You know, when they're
yeah, it's
completely
true. And
irrelevant.
people will know. Like,
Yeah.
people know what's good. All right, yeah, stay blessed.
Stay blessed. Stay blessed. No stress. We don't want stress.
And Gwan, get your hair braided, white boy.
That's the name of the episode.